Hey guys, Aaron Farmer here with my sugar-free journey, and I came across something today that you guys have to you have to see to believe. The American Academy of Pediatrics just put out a position paper recommending, among other things, a complete elimination of all non-medicals. So you need to think religious here. A complete elimination of all non-medical exemptions from immunizations. So I've read the paper. I've linked to it in the blog post if you want to go over there and see it. I, I can't believe that this is something that any American would write. I mean, I know people on the left generally see no value in religion, but good grief. I mean, this is still the land of the free. So, as the paper develops its case for the end of religious vaccine exemptions for school children, it does lay out one fact I was not aware of. There are 5 states that already don't allow non medical exemptions: California, Connecticut, Maine, New York, and West Virginia. And I have to say, I'm a little surprised to see West Virginia on that list. It's also interesting that California and Connecticut are both in the top 10 for rates of adult autism. Maybe that's irrelevant. Maybe not. I don't know. I also didn't know that, and this is a quote, more than half of the states can exclude unimmunized students during outbreaks, epidemics, or emergencies, which that does seem like a totally reasonable law that should be on the books everywhere. If you have a measles outbreak in your area, it seems wise to tell the unimmunized kids to stay home for a few days until things calm down. I do think that it's interesting that after the last 4 years of having basically an open border, we are now in the middle of the worst measles outbreak that we've seen in a long time. Those two things seem very connected to me. You open your borders and allow anybody to come in, and now measles is kind of running rampant. So I mean that is one one argument for vaccination is you never know when your government's going to do something that's not in the best interest for public health. Um, Last 4 years were pretty interesting. Anyway, we're done with him. Probably the most shocking sentence in the paper, at least until you get to the actual recommendation at the bottom, which we're going to go over in a minute, is this quote: among the major world religious traditions, none include scriptural or doctrinal guidelines that preclude adherents from being vaccinated. And to back that up, they link to another helpful paper that sure enough says exactly that there's no religious reason to not get vaccinated. You read that and you just think, good grief, guys, did you even Google that? Did you talk to a religious person that is hesitant about vaccines and let them explain to you why and what their religious reasoning is? Have any of you ever met a religious person? And maybe not. Maybe the most religious person they've ever met is just one of these, ladies that believes in crystals or something. I don't know. Then the paper begins to list the several court cases it thinks gives it a right to force vaccinations into children. I'm not a lawyer, so I'm going to leave that to better minds to unpack, but it is troubling to see the AAP thinks it has a legal right to violate the conscience and religious beliefs of whomever they choose. Finally, the paper gives its 7 recommendations moving forward, and number 4 is to eliminate all non medical exemptions for vaccination. So I'm going to read the 4th recommendation to you. The AAP recommends that all states, territories, and the District of Columbia eliminate all non medical exemptions from immunizations as a condition of school attendance. In addition, states and territories should develop policies to ensure that any medical exemptions are appropriate and evidence based. So they want to eliminate all non medical exemptions, and they want to severely curtail all the medical exemptions. They want these vaccines into your body as quickly as and as many of as they can shove into your arm. It is unbelievable, and it's I think a look into the dark mind of the authoritarian left that thinks nothing of your religion or your right to control your own body. I believe that anywhere there is risk, there should be choice. And let's remember that the core problem to this debate is the fact that the vaccine manufacturers are totally shielded from all legal or financial consequences of their products. If cars had the same immunity as vaccines, we would all be driving Ford Pintos that occasionally exploded, and Ford wouldn't care to improve their products in the least. Until that immunity is removed, many people are going to have no choice but to assume that the vaccines are dangerous, and the people making them know that they're dangerous. They know that they're dangerous. That's why they cling so tightly to their immunity. And, do you remember a couple years ago when it was reported that there were more cases of polio from the vaccine than from the wild virus? I mean, that seems relevant to this conversation. The second issue is just the idea of religious freedom. If someone's personal religious beliefs prevent vaccination, or even if the belief isn't religious, you're just looking at the data available and determining that you cannot, in good conscience, accept the risks of the vaccine, that belief should be honored. This isn't a totally authoritarian state yet, and people still have the right to live their lives according to their conscience, and those beliefs should be honored by the state. Finally, if you're a parent worried about where this is going, I cannot recommend you looking into homeschooling enough. We had 4 children. All 4 were homeschooled. They are all productive members of society. I have been blessed with 8, almost 9 grandchildren. Number 9 is on the way. My wife and I homeschooled all of our kids. We're very happy with the results, and you might want to look into that. Especially if this policy actually becomes the law of the land. It's not the easiest thing in the world, but the results are amazing. So anyway, I wanted to bring that to your attention. Again, this is Aaron with mysugarfreejourney.com, and I've like I said, I've actually linked to the article in the blog post if you go over there and check it out. And I'd love to know what you guys think about this. All right, guys, you have a great night. Bye bye.